is your host, Roderick Swift, every Wednesday, Musicians Matters Podcast, live right here at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Positive Power, 21 Christian Media, LLC. Let's go!
We have a show here tonight for you tonight. But before we start our show, we're going to get some information out to you. We have, hold on, a community resource and holiday expo. You're going to have Quinta Carter. You're going to have Dr. Erwin Rainbow. You're going to have Apostle Kelker. You're going to have Naomi Shelton. You're going to have Judge Bells. You're going to have Lady K. There you're going to have Pastor Kelsey West, and you're going to have hosted by Lady AK. This is going to be at the Parkdale Recreation and Senior Center. That's off of 3200 Fairdale Street, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89129. That's going on this Saturday, December 10th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And they are looking for vendors, and it's going to be vendors fee $75, and the raffle items for $25. This is going to be a free event, and I know it's going to be an awesome event because I know some of the panel that's going to be there. It's going to be an awesome event that you need to be there. It's going to be off of 3200. So you got to bear with me. I've had high situations. Fairdale Street, off of Las Vegas, Nevada. 89121. This Wednesday. I would like to welcome my guest, Bruce Harper. How you doing, Doc?
Hello there.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. After today, your family today had to go. I've been suffering with this issue with my eyes. I had to go to the eye doctor today because my eye had been red for 3.5 weeks. So imagine what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, that's not good.
And then I got to go to the eye doctor again tomorrow, because what my doctor had found or seen, he wants to make sure that I get seen by a specialist to make this happen. To see what is going on, basically.
Yep.
On December 20th, Bruce, it's going to be going on. Tell us about what's going on December 20th.
Well, it will be the Bruce Harper Big Band featuring Naomi Morrow, our singer, and it's at Myron's at the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. And the show starts at 7 p.m. It's about an hour and a half, 45-minute show. And it's one show that night. And this will be our 16th show at Myron's at the Smith Center.
Check it out. Let them know. It's already sold out. So anybody that's looking for a ticket, I'm sorry about this time, but maybe next time you'll be able to get a ticket. Am I right?
Yes, it's good these days to buy your tickets early for our show. Luckily, we've been selling out a few weeks to a month in advance. So people in Las Vegas still love the big band sound, and Las Vegas was really built on the Las Vegas sound, the big band sound, and so we're the kind of the last surviving big band doing that type of thing, and we love it. And so we invite everybody to come out that has an inkling about enjoying our kind of music.
Yes. Tell them, as far as of Naomi, how long have you been dealing with Naomi?
Well, she's been on the band about 4 years approximately. She joined the band right before COVID hit. And
wow.
We had rehearsed with her starting in January of 2020, and we rehearsed January, February, and into about the second week of March, and then COVID hit, and we all took a hiatus for about 2 years. And then at the end of 21, we had a Christmas show, like right now, and so we started back up playing at the Smith Center and another place in downtown Summerlin that we perform at sometimes. And Naomi is a superb jazz singer. She's a real jazz singer, and she's world class, and she's a studied musician. She has her master's degree from UNLV, and she knows music. She can sight read the music that we play, and which is a rare thing for a singer. Most singers can't read music, and she's a rare thing, and that helps her understand what's going on musically, and she scaps a lot, and that is very exciting, and she's able to be like another soloist in the band. She scats and solos just like a sax or a trumpet or trombone would do if they're playing a solo. She's that good. I'm truly honored to be there too. Big family mentor. Are you going to be trapping a little bit on the stage for me? Am I going to what? I couldn't understand.
You trapping on them drums?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be tapping them drums. You betcha. Yep.
Oh yeah. You going to be more swinging, or is it going to be more swing songs, or is it going to be like some ballads or what?
Yeah, we have a couple of ballads in there, but we have about 6 holiday-type Christmas songs that we're going to be doing because it is that season and right before Christmas, and so we have a few of those sprinkled in there. But it's what we do is mostly swing, and but we do a few Latin tunes and not too many rock tunes. Could I go back a little bit and get a little history of how I happened to end up with this band?
This is your show.
Well, all right. Yeah, when I was a little boy, I got my first set of drums when I was in about the 5th grade. So I was around 11. And my dad brought home big band records. Benny Goodman with Gene Krupa and Les Brown's band from Hollywood. And I used to play to those all the time. And I was also hearing bands like Little Richard and Fats Domino on the radio all the time, and I had all those records too, which I thoroughly loved and still love to this day. And so I was influenced with that rhythm and blues music also. I like the soul of it and the excitement of it. It just really lifted me up. And I remember when I was that age, I would go to sleep at night. I'd lay in my bed, and my dad had some different light bulbs, some red ones and blue ones that he used in his photography. He liked to take pictures and develop his own pictures in those days. And so I managed to find those light bulbs, and I plugged them into my light. So I would lay there in my bed and listen to the radio at night to Little Richard and Fats Domino and Bill Doggett doing Honky Tonk. And I was just in heaven. I just was imagining myself being there and playing the drums to those songs. I just loved it. But so I was also playing along to these big band records that my dad had. And there was something about those that really got me going. So I started really bearing down on those even more. And so the school, when I got into the 7th grade, my middle school had they had a big band. And so I was already kind of into big bands from playing along with those records. So so then I played in that big band, and I made the band in the 7th grade. We only had 3 grades in middle school in those days. And so by the 9th grade, I was getting pretty good. So when I got into high school, I didn't want to be in the marching band anymore. And so because I wouldn't be in the marching band, they wouldn't let me play in the big band. So I missed out on 3 years of that big band, but I was still playing at home and taking drum lessons from one of the best drummers around Fort Worth, and still focusing on big band music. That seemed to be where my heart really went. I would have loved to have played more rock in those days, but there weren't any really good rock bands. You know, the ones I would hear around the school, they would be kind of boring to me. The musicians weren't that good, really, and so I had a lot more fun playing with a big band at school than that type of thing. So I graduated from high school, and then I went to the University of North Texas. So I had heard them play a few times before, and I was like, that's it. That's the greatest big band I ever heard. And so I wanted to go to school there and play in those bands that they had there. They had about 6 different big bands going. So I started off in the beginner band, freshman band, and next semester I moved up a band, and then the next semester I moved up another band. So I spent 2 years there, and then Uncle Sam started calling, and that was during the Vietnam War type of thing. And so I went into the Air Force band. I auditioned and got into the Air Force band and spent 4 years. And so that really changed my life, actually. From that time on, I considered myself a professional musician because I was getting paid to play for 4 years. And so, but when I got out, I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. So I talked to some friends of mine that I'd gone to school with at North Texas before, and they recommended I go back to school and kind of get my bearings and meet the new people around the school and things like that, and then take it from there. So I went back to school and played on the bands, and I kept moving up from band to band. And so I spent the next 2 years doing that. So then I got out of school, and then all of a sudden, that was the end of big band. That was the end of jazz. There was no more jazz, no more big band. It was all rock. So it was a rude awakening in a way, because, I loved rock, but I hadn't played all that much of it. I mean, I could play it, but not as good as the guys that's all they knew. Some of these rock drummers, they didn't know a thing about jazz. They just knew the rock thing, and they knew it really well. So I put away all my jazz and big band for several years and bared down on the rock thing. So so I could work, So so in those days, this was like the early 70s. And in those days, there were clubs all over the place, and they all had bands going. So I got with a couple of different bands in the early 70s after I left school. And so then there was no end in sight of work. I wasn't getting rich, but I was able to survive. And I was playing 6 nights a week and having a lot of fun doing it. And there were so many jobs, I never thought twice about doing anything else except playing the drums in these bands, So I kept studying also and really honing in on my music reading and preparing myself for I wasn't sure what, but I loved doing it and I loved getting better. That was the main thing. I wanted to hone my skills. So later on in 1979, I had run into a few people that recommended that I move to Las Vegas. So I decided to take a chance, and my wife and I moved out to Vegas in 1979, August of 1979. And so when I got here, it was like big band heaven. There were big bands all over town, and I was just like, oh, my gosh, I had no idea. I just knew I moved here because I wanted to play the big shows that I'd seen on TV that had the big bands and the orchestras and all that, and it was exciting to me, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I just wanted to work myself into doing that. So I got here, and there was all these big bands, and they were playing at the Musicians Union bar. They had a big bar in the back of the Musicians Union, which was at Tropicana and Duke Ellington Way. And the building is still there. The union's not in it anymore, but that's another story. But anyway, they had 2 bands a night playing in there, and some in the daytime too. And it was a nice big room, and so it was fairly easy to play on one of those bands. You talk to people and tell them you're a drummer and you'd like to play, and so there were a lot of guys coming and going out of those bands. So I got a chance to sit in with a couple in the daytime, and they heard that I knew what I was doing, and so I started playing on some of the night bands. And then an opening popped up. They used to have like 10 o'clock bands, and then they would have like a 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning band. And so the early bands were more guys that were getting started or retiring, or they weren't working like 6 nights a week. But the later bands, these would be the guys coming off their midnight shows, and then they would come down to the Union Bar to hang out and play all night. So I was playing on some of these early bands, and then all of a sudden a spot opened up on Saturday nights for the early band, the 10 o'clock band, And a friend of mine told me this was his name was Jim Scajari, great trumpet player from North Texas. He said, you should take that slot and put a band together. And I'm like, what? It never entered my mind to have my own big band. I had never thought of it. I'd played on other people's bands, but not my own. And he said, I said, I don't even have any music. He says, yeah, well, get some music and start your own band and take that slot. So I'm like, wow, well, okay. So I did what he encouraged me to do, and next thing I knew, I was a band leader, and I had my own big band. And I was in town here in Vegas about 6 months when that happened. It happened about early 1980. So I played that early slot for a year or two. I can't remember exactly, but I wanted to play with the later bands, and so a slot opened up for a late band on Saturday night. So I took that, and then for about the next 5 or 6 years, I had the late band on Saturday nights, and we would start about 1:30 in the morning and play till sunup. And we would leave that Union Bar many a morning, and you'd been in kind of the dark all night long, and then you'd open that door up, and it'd be the sun bursting in. It'd be like, whoa! It was a shock. So I really learned a heck of a lot having my own band. It was an education in itself, and it still is. You never quit learning. And so the Union Bar closed down soon after that. 7th year I was there, and they had to move, and so we lost the Union Bar to play in. And I got a 10-year steady job playing at the Gold Coast, which had just opened. And it was a daytime playing job, like noon to 5:30, 5 days a week. And I couldn't really stay up all night playing anyway and make that job. So I had to cut the band loose. And so I didn't do my big band for several years, and 10 years there, and then another 7 years I was on the road a lot, and I was just too busy to do my big band. So things were like that. I was working all the time, going on the road. I traveled all over the world and playing with different jazz bands. And then in 2004, a friend of mine, Linda Murphy, who I'd met at the Union Bar, she was a celloist that played on the Strip for bands like Paul Anka and people like that. Very good musician she was. And her husband had a bar. And so she always wanted to have bands play in her bar. So she called me up and asked me if I would put my band back together and play Monday nights in her bar. So I thought, I'm not on the road so much, and when I am on the road, we'll get somebody else to do it, but when I'm in town, I will definitely do it. So 2004 was when I really got the band back together, and we've been together pretty much ever since. So here we are all these years later, and so then about so we were always when I had this band back in those days, we were always doing instrumentals. We didn't have a singer. Mm-hmm. And so we did a show. We had a saxophone player in the band named Arno Marsh, and he was well known all over the world. He'd played on a lot of big bands, Woody Herman and Stan Kenton, and he was always a first call tenor player. He played first tenor on the band in those days, and so he was getting up in years, and so he lived in Boulder City. So a producer up there decided to do a show to honor him, and he wanted to use my big band to perform and help out musically with this story. So they were going to tell Arno Marsh's life story in music, basically. So, but we had some singers that sang with the band too, and so we did 2 shows with that band doing that particular story of Arno's life, and it was just spectacular. Very exciting. We played at a place over at Sunset and East Sunset called the E String in those days. I think they call it the Gambit now. Okay. And so we did a show there on a Sunday afternoon, and then the very next Sunday afternoon we did a show in Boulder City at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church, or Catholic Church. So we packed the place both times and had a ball playing that music. And one of the singers, Laura Schaefer, did a good job singing with the band. She had 1 or 2 numbers, and so she came up to me and told me she wanted to sing with my band. So I was like, well, do you have any music? She's like, no. So I thought she was pretty good, and we'd never had a singer, so I thought, well, let me see if I can find some music for you to sing. And so she had different styles that she liked and some she didn't like, and so we went back and forth about some of these. And so I found some, and and then we had a writer that started writing for the band in those days, and he wrote a few things. And so she sang with the band for about a year and a half, and she left the band, and then we went back to doing instrumentals again. So we did that for several years, and always the band was always good, and we enjoyed playing the instrumentals or having a singer. It didn't really matter. But I had gathered up several of these vocal charts, and I liked playing them. I thought they were exciting and fun to play, and so I always kind of had my eye out for another singer. And so, let's see, around 2013 or 14, I was introduced to a singer, Elisa Fiorillo, who had just gotten off the road with Prince. She sang backup for Prince for about 5 years and toured all the biggest venues in the world. And she had recorded with him for 20 years even before that. Back in the early 80s, she was recording and had a couple of disco hits and things like that. And she was really talented. And so I heard her, and she said, yeah. And I asked her, I said, would you like to do some singing with the band? And she said, yeah. So she came on the band, and she was with us for about 5 years. And so people kept telling us that, see, the Smith Center was brand new in those days. And so people would come up to me out of the audience and said, you guys should be playing at the Smith Center. So I always had that in my mind. And so we were playing at various places around town. At least once a month we would play. And so a good friend of mine, Adam Schindel, he was a drummer for Wayne Newton for many, many years, still works around town all the time. And he had a friend, Steve Arnold, who was in the Buddy Rich's family. He was married to Buddy Rich's daughter, Kathy. And so my friend Adam brought Steve Arnold in to hear us do a show, and he thoroughly loved the band, and he wanted to help us out and see if he could book us in bigger and better places. So I was like, wow, okay, love that. So he booked us into the Smith Center. This was around 2015. So that started us off really in a great way at the Smith Center. So here we are 7 years later, and we had the 2 years off. So we've had we did 5 years, and then so we've done another good year in there. So it's been about 6 years or so that we've played the Smith Center, and like I said before, this will be our 16th show in there. So we played in there several times a year, and it's a world-class venue. If you've never been in there, it is absolutely gorgeous, first class all the way. They've got great sound men, they've got great lighting engineers, and everything in there is first class, including the food and the atmosphere. Everything is just wonderful. So we feel very excited to be able to play a world-class venue like that.
And you know what? I'm so excited just to be a part of the media group over there at your event. This is an honor to be there with you on December 20th.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking really forward to being a part of this event, and it's going to be an amazing event. And I know that you got a lot of songs for this world to hear, and this city to hear. And how does it feel to be the main band in Las Vegas or all over the world, big band? How does that feel?
Well, I'm proud. You know, I'm proud of the band, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and we want to accomplish a lot more. We would like to have a steady job on the Strip and a lounge. I don't want to play a showroom. I want to play a lounge where it goes all out into the casino. I know what that can do to a casino. It gives an atmosphere like there's something exciting going on in the casino, and it's good for business. And I've experienced that when I was at the Gold Coast. We had a horn band that played in there, and it was straight ahead jazz and Dixieland and stuff like that. It was all very exciting music, and 10 years of that, and I could see what that band and the excitement of our band did in that casino. And it drew in lots of business, and it kept people there that might have left, you know, but they heard the band and they sat there. And the owner told us that if we could get the people to sit there 30 more minutes than they would have, we were earning our keep. So I've always remembered that. And so I know my big band would do just as well as that, or better, probably better, in a casino atmosphere, you know, where it's got to have a big enough bandstand, but there are some around town that do have that. And the music just seeps out across the whole casino, and it's exciting, and it gives a great atmosphere to the casino. So that's kind of my goal right now, is to, you know, I feel like we've proven that what we can do playing at the Smith Center, and I would like to parlay that into playing for tourists. The main thing about what I'm saying is I want to play for tourists. I want to get I want to play for them, and, you know, because we've relied on the locals. We have a pretty good local following, and we're always building on that. That's how come we sell out a month before the show. And but I want to play for the tourists, and So that's my main goal right now is to keep pushing for that. And but it's hard, the casino bosses or not the bosses, the entertainment directors. They're so into the rock thing, and people are kind of tired of all the rock stuff.
You're right about that.
When they hear us, it's like refreshing. It's like something that they're not used to hearing as much, So, and it's high class stuff, and it takes a lot of musicianship to play what we play, And these guys in the band, they're all super pros. I mean, they play all over town, for Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett and on and on and on. They've played for everybody.
Well, you got the best band in the world, so that's all that matters. And I'm just glad to be there. So
I'm glad you'll be able to see it. This will be your first time to see the band in person.
Yes. I listened to some of the music there. It's amazing. So yes, it's going to be amazing. So this is going to be Bruce Harper big band with Naomi and Morrow?
Yeah, Morrow.
Morrow, okay. Sprinkled with Christmas cookies. It's going to be December the 20th, 2022, and it's going to be at the is it Myron?
Myron.
Yeah, the Myrons, and it's sold out already. So it's going to be approximately 90 minutes on intermission, and it's going to be at the Smith Centers this coming December 20th, 2022. That's a Tuesday.
Yeah. I like playing on Tuesday nights.
Okay. Awesome. So I really thank you for this show, and it's going to be an amazing show. So I'm just really looking forward to it. And anything that you would like to say to the world positive as we end the show?
Yes, just keep the Bruce Harper Big Band in your minds, and the people that don't live in Las Vegas, if you come to Las Vegas, please look us up. I'm on Facebook. You can find us under Bruce Harper Big Band on Facebook. And I also have a website, BruceHarperBigBand.com. And you can usually find where we're playing next on those two things for sure.
Amazing. Awesome. That's I really thank you for this time, and it was a pleasure introducing you on this night. You always welcome on this show and this platform. You know that, Mentor. So I only have to ask you to come on this show anytime. So you always welcome. Anytime you want to be on this show, you can be on it.
Well, I appreciate you very much. I love being on the show, and I appreciate the opportunity to let the people out in the world know that we're here and what we're doing. And hopefully, like I said, anybody, especially if you're people that don't live in Las Vegas, please come look us up. Bruce Harper Big Band.
That's right. So as we end this show, it says I would like to thank Jerry Royce, Positive Power 21 Christian Media LLC, for being there as a true brother and a true mentor and a true friend in Christ. And I would like to thank Tyler Gaston, the Gas Station Recording Studio, for all of my engineering work as far as the music and for the shows and all of my platforms. And I would like to, and it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen." Hebrews 11:1. Be blessed.
Join me as your host, Roger Swift, every here at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Positive Power, 21 Christian Media, LLC. Let's go!
You're listening to Yours Live Worldwide Podcast.